Mechanism of respiration, in which up to it we have studied about the breathing and external respiration. The next one is an internal respiration. If we observe the process of internal respiration, now from the alveoli, oxygen get diffused towards the blood capillaries and CO2 get diffused from blood capillary towards the alveolar ear. That means blood which leave the alveoli with the help of pulmonary vein is oxygenated blood. How this oxygen is carried up to the cell with the help of blood, and from the all body cell how carbon dioxide is collected and carried up to the alveolar ear and alveolar blood vessel. About that we are going to take a detailed account in internal respiration. If we observe the internal respiration, to study about the internal respiration, first we should know who is going to carry the oxygen and carbon dioxide. Oxygen and carbon dioxide is carried with the help of a blood. So we should know the component of blood. Mainly the component of blood are participating in the conduction of O2 and CO2 are in the form of RBC and blood plasma. This mechanism of internal respiration shows mainly transport of oxygen and transport of carbon dioxide. Out of that, total transport of oxygen, you can observe the 3% of oxygen is transported through the blood plasma and remaining 97% of oxygen is transported with the help of hemoglobin, which is present inside the RBC and is main respiratory pigment present in human blood. If we observe the hemoglobin who act as oxygen carrier, if we observe the hemoglobin who have a greater affinity towards the oxygen, when hemoglobin it get combines with the oxygen, it forms an oxyhemoglobin. Theory gave us an idea. One molecule of hemoglobin has 4 molecule of Fe++, and each molecule of Fe++ pick up a 1 molecule of oxygen. So in this way, one molecule of Hb contains 4 Fe++, one molecule of Fe++ collect 1 molecule of oxygen. So one hemoglobin picks up 4 molecule of oxygen to form a compound called as oxyhemoglobin. That means now oxygen through the blood is carried in the form of oxyhemoglobin. As this oxygen from the alveolar ear came into the pulmonary capillaries, at that site Hb get combines with the oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. This oxyhemoglobin is radially dissociated to release the oxygen. But when this oxyhemoglobin is carried up to the body cell or body tissue, when this oxyhemoglobin is carried up to the body cell or body tissue, it have to dissociate because it should release the oxygen, then only can supply to the body cell or body tissue. So when it reach up to the body cell or body tissue, this oxyhemoglobin is get dissociated into hemoglobin and oxygen. As the oxygen is get released from the hemoglobin, this oxygen is get entered into the body cell or body tissue fluids. Till, however, the degree of saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen, it depends upon the oxygen tension. Oxygen tension means partial pressure of oxygen. Then here you can observe, as we have discussed, hemoglobin have an affinity towards the oxygen. Till 100% saturation of hemoglobin by the oxygen is not observed. It is very rare case. In general, at a maximum rate, saturation of hemoglobin by oxygen takes place of about 95 to 97%. When it is possible, when the partial pressure of oxygen inside the alveoli is 100 mmHg, then only it is possible. Degree of saturation decreases with the drop in a partial pressure of oxygen. This begins the dissociation of hemoglobin and oxygen from each other. That means oxyhemoglobin started to dissociate and forms Hb plus 4O2. If the partial pressure of oxygen into the alveolar air is 30 mmHg, the saturation of Hb takes place only of about 50%. The relationship between oxyhemoglobin saturation and oxygen tension is called as oxygen dissociation curve. The relationship between oxyhemoglobin saturation and oxygen tension means partial pressure of oxygen is called as a oxygen dissociation curve. In the case of oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, it gave us an idea. The curve is of sigmoid type. It shifts towards the right side. So it is called as a sigmoid curve, S-shaped curve. Due to increasing in the H plus ion concentration and increase in the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, as well as increase in the temperature and rise in the level of diphosphoglyceric acid, which we can say 2,3-di-PGA, which we have discussed during respiration in last year at the time of glycolysis. If it increases, it lowers the affinity of hemoglobin for the oxygen. That means this is one more case. The hemoglobin have an affinity towards the oxygen, but if there is increase in the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, increase in the temperature and increasing in the level of 2,3-diphosphoglyceric acid, then affinity of hemoglobin towards the oxygen is decreased. Here you can observe the Bohr effect. With the help of Bohr effect, we can observe the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin into hemoglobin and oxygen. And Bohr effect mainly gave us an idea about the pressure of carbon dioxide inside the blood, how it changes the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin. So, Bohr effect, it is the shift of oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve due to change in the partial pressure of carbon dioxide inside the blood. With the help of this graphical representation, you can observe if there is a low carbon dioxide pH, it is high, and dissociation of oxyhemoglobin, it is S-shaped or it is sigmoid. If the high CO2 is there, then you can observe the affinity of hemoglobin towards the oxygen is low. Medium CO2 असेल, medium affinity HBG towards the oxygen, and if low CO2 is there, then here you can observe the hemoglobin shows a more affinity towards the oxygen. It also affects on the pH. How? Because this hemoglobin, it interact with the pH. which gave us an idea into the Haldane effect. Oxyhemoglobin, which functions as an acid, it helps to decrease the pH of blood. If we observe the increasing in the number of H plus ion, HCO through changes into H2O and CO2. Due to increasing in the number of H plus ion, what happen? HCO3 is get converted into water molecule and a carbon dioxide. Now, inside the alveoli, where the partial pressure of oxygen is high, now we are talking about the lungs. Inside the lungs, inside the alveoli, if partial pressure of oxygen is high and partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, then oxygen is bind with the hemoglobin with more affinity. But if we observe the same thing at the tissue level, at the region of a tissue or tissue cell, what happen? The partial pressure of oxygen is low and partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high. Here you can observe the affinity of Hb towards the oxygen is get decreases, and it affects on the HbO2. Hb does not hold the oxygen much for a longer time. So it is going to dissociate the HbO2 into Hb plus O2. This is about Haldane effect. It releases O2 for the diffusion into the tissue cell. In this way, the oxygen from the blood is get ready to diffuse towards the tissue cells and is carried from the lungs up to the tissue cell in the form of a HbO2, oxyhemoglobin. The next, second thing, transport of carbon dioxide. If you observe the transport of carbon dioxide, this CO2 is radially soluble inside the water. When CO2 is transported by RBC and plasma, you can observe it shows the conduction of a CO2 in three different forms. First, by plasma in the form of a solution. How much percent? Out of total percentage of CO2, with the help of a plasma, about 7% of CO2 is carried from the body cell, from the tissue cell towards the lungs with the help of a blood plasma. As CO2 get diffused from the cell towards the tissue fluid it contains water. Same way, water is also present inside the blood plasma. This CO2, it combines with the water to form H2CO3, that means carbonic acid. Now, second form by which CO2 is carried from the tissue cell, body cell towards the lungs. This CO2 is carried in the form of bicarbonate ions. Out of total CO2 transportation, about 70% of CO2 is transported in the form of bicarbonate ions. Here you can observe carbon dioxide when diffused from the tissue towards the plasma and then into the RBC. In the RBC, CO2 combines with the water in the presence of Zn containing an enzyme called as carbonic anhydrase to form an carbonic acid. Carbonic anhydrase enzyme is found in the RBC, but it is absent inside the blood plasma. You can observe the carbonic acid being unstable almost immediately dissociates into HCO3 plus H plus ion in the presence of enzyme carbonic anhydrase. As this carbonic acid H2CO3 is get dissociated into HCO3 plus H plus, what happen? The amount of HCO3 inside the RBC started to get increase. Here you can observe in the reaction CO2 plus H2O, it forms H2CO3 carbonic acid. This H2CO3 in the presence of enzyme carbonic anhydrase, this one, in the presence of enzyme carbonic anhydrase, get dissociated into H plus plus HCO3 minus. This HCO3 minus is get increases inside the RBC. It get increase inside what? RBC. Now, due to increasing in the concentration of HCO3 minus inside the RBC, it have to move from the RBC towards the outside. When it move from the RBC towards the outside, inside the RBC, it result in the imbalance of the charge. Cause HCO3 get move out from the RBC. Negative charge inside the RBC get decreases, but it is maintained with the help of entry of a Cl minus inside the RBC. So this entry of Cl minus inside the RBC helps to compensate the effect of HCO3 decreasing from the RBC. This movement of chloride ions inside the RBC is called as Hamburger's phenomenon. In the case of Hamburger's phenomenon, one can observe due to the outward flow of HCO3 from the RBC, it leads to the imbalance in the charge of chloride, charge of negative ion inside the RBC. To compensate that thing, chloride ions shift inside the RBC. This movement of chloride ion is known as Hamburger's phenomenon or chloride shift. If we observe HCO3, now we are talking about the bicarbonates. HCO3 that came into the plasma and joined with the Na plus and K plus, sodium as well as potassium. Here you can observe HCO3 plus Na plus, which gives rise to NaHCO3, sodium bicarbonate. HCO3, it combines with the K plus to form potassium bicarbonate. So now out of total CO2, about 70% of CO2 is carried in these two forms, sodium bicarbonate and potassium bicarbonate. Now you can observe H plus ion is taken up by the hemoglobin. As hemoglobin takes up the H plus ion, it is get reduced. So Hb plus H plus, it forms H2B. Instead of that, we can say HHB. That means it is in a reduced form of Hb. Why? Because here hemoglobin takes up the hydrogen. These H plus ion might be expected to the lower blood pH. But the hemoglobin acts as a buffer by the formation of deoxyhemoglobin. Deoxyhemoglobin, why? Because HHB is a reduced form of the hemoglobin. So this deoxyhemoglobin, it acts as a buffer to maintain the pH. Actually, due to increasing in the level of H plus, it leads to lowering of the pH, but it is compensated. Buffer action it is shown by the hemoglobin. At the level of lung, in the response to the low partial pressure of carbon dioxide inside the alveoli, hydrogen ions plus bicarbonate ions recombines. Hydrogen plus bicarbonate ions recombine to form a carbonic acid. This carbonic acid, under the influence of carbonic anhydrase, further get dissociated to form carbon dioxide plus water molecule. Now this CO2 level into the blood capillaries near to the alveoli is get increases. So ppm or partial pressure of carbon dioxide into the alveolar blood capillary is now 45 mmHg. And inside the alveoli it is only 40 mmHg. So CO2 started to diffuse from the alveoli towards the from alveolar blood capillary towards the alveolar ear. Now third thing, out of total CO2 percentage, 7% is carried by blood plasma, 70% carried by the sodium and potassium bicarbonate, and remaining 23% is carried by the red blood cells. If you observe the red blood cells, carbon dioxide binds with the amino group of hemoglobin and forms a loosely bound compound called as carbaminohemoglobin. This Hb plus CO2 form HbCO2. Now from the cell or tissue, the carbon dioxide is carried in the form of carbaminohemoglobin up to the pulmonary blood capillaries. When it reaches up to the pulmonary blood capillaries, this HbCO2 get dissociate into Hb plus CO2. That means while the movement of blood from the tissue cell towards the lungs, the Hb, while this movement is going to carry the carbon dioxide also. Yes, previously we have discussed Hb is helpful to carry the oxygen, but here you can observe Hb is also helpful to carry the carbon dioxide. Last point is cellular respiration. In this topic up to 8, we have studied about the breathing, external respiration, internal respiration, and next one, cellular respiration. If we observe the process of cellular respiration is conducted in two steps. Now, when blood is carried towards the cell, from the blood oxygen get diffused towards the cell. Previously the cell is supplied by the glucose molecule. This glucose C6H12O6 get oxidized with the help of 6 molecule of oxygen to form 6CO2, 6H2O plus 686 kilocalorie energy, or we can say the formation of 38 ATP molecules. That means out of 686 kilocalorie energy, 277.4 kilocalorie energy is used for the formation of 38 ATP molecule. So ATP molecule is formed from the ADP plus inorganic phosphate. Why? Because ATP is an energy currency of the cell. We have to supply this energy to the cell in the form of ATP. So the second step of cellular respiration is phosphorylation. ADP plus inorganic phosphate, which use up the 7.3 kilocalorie energy to form an ATP molecule. So this is about the last step called as cellular respiration.